This raspberry cowl has a special stitch that makes this kind of raspberry stitch pattern. I think it looks like little berries here. We have the fence kind of looking like down here, that fence ribbing, and then we have the raspberry stitch here, and that's done by doing a yarn over, knitting 3 stitches, and then picking up the 3rd stitch in on your right hand needle and lifting it over the other 2. Okay, so one thing that can happen is as you're lifting this 3rd stitch up and over, sometimes you might miss catching that stitch for some reason, and then you just have 1, and it's just a matter of picking up that stitch and putting it back on your needle, and then lifting your 3rd stitch over, making sure you get it all the way over those 2. So there are a couple of things I do to make that easier. One is I do a little tug. I do it so automatically and so quickly that you might not have noticed that, as I give it a little tug right there that makes it bigger, that makes this 3rd stitch bigger. Then I kind of hang on to that 1st and 2nd stitch right there as I lift that over the top. So those are a couple of things that'll make that easier. All right. One other thing about this cowl is this is where we began, down here, but up here is where our stitch marker is, so that's definitely not over here where we'd think it would be typically. So it can be, that's because how this pattern's worked, each repeat it moves the stitch marker over. So it can be really important, even though you think, oh, I don't need to know where the beginning of my round is, or I can tell the beginning of my round from where my cast on yarn is, etc. You can't always, because sometimes the pattern moves like this one. So just pay attention to that and make your decisions accordingly. I hope you found value in this tutorial. If you have, please consider a one-time payment via PayPal or a regular subscription via Patreon. The links are down below and they are on the screen. Again, thank you for joining me. See you next time.